Yes, can you hear me? Good evening.
Yes, sir.
Yes, good evening. Can you hear me? Guys, please respond. Good evening. Can you hear me?
Good evening, sir.
Yes, Anjan Kumar. Yes, good. Yesterday class, see, yesterday class basic demo class completed, guys. Today class will go for the web application. Mhm. Good. Guys, see, you can take the Advanced Java. What is Advanced Java syllabus, guys? Advanced Java syllabus, I told you yesterday class. Advanced Java syllabus means what? We have the Jdbc. Tell me, guys, we have the Jdbc and we have the Servlets and the JSP, JSTL expression language, right? These are advanced Java syllabus, guys. Yesterday, I clearly told you that Servlets and JSP is used to build what kind of applications? Tell me. Okay, Servlets come at JSP. Use it to build. Use it to build which applications, guys? Here, web applications, right? Exactly. Guys, the guys who are missed yesterday class, I will share you the record session at the end of the session today. At the end of the class, I will share you the yesterday demo class video. Today is the second class, okay? Servlets and JSPs are used to build which applications, guys? Web applications, right? Yeah, Servlets and JSPs are used to build what kind of applications means web applications, guys. Good. Yes, generally web application required what a client server architecture. Yes, web application required what a client server architecture, right? Yes, yes or no? Web application requires what a client server architecture, guys. See, generally in everyday daily life, we have the Facebook, we have the Gmail, we have the Twitter. These are all the web applications, right? Because we are sending the request from the browser. So now we are sending the request, right? We are sending the request to the Facebook. The Facebook will take your request. The Facebook server will take the request. The server will give the response back to the server will give the response back to the client, right? Yes, sir. No, the server will give the response back to the client or not. Okay, the server will give the response back to the client, right? Exactly. Just observe carefully. Every day in the daily life, we have the IRCTC, we have the Abibus, Redbus, Facebook. So these are all the websites we have, right? In all websites, guys, assume like you want to book the ticket in IRCTC. If you want to book the ticket, you will open the browser, right? Yes, look in the browser or not. In the browser, what we will type? In the browser, we will type like, http colon slashes www.irctc.com. Something like you will type the data, right? Exactly. Because when you type the URL in the browser, then definitely the request goes to what? Guys, the request goes to server, right? This is my server, guys, which is located somewhere. This is my server, guys. Okay, good. What is the server contains? The server first of all contains application, right? The server contains what? Server contains the application, right? Exactly. Yes, yes or no? Server contains what? Application, right? Yeah. You see, for example, I opened some website like PG for you. The guys who are looking for the PGs, something website is there. PG for you website is there. Because in this website you can see this is called client, right? pgforyou.com. Because this is the client. Here, using this client, I'm sending the request to the server, right? Yes, who is sending the request to server? Who is sending the request to server? We are sending the request to server, definitely. Yeah. We are sending the server request to server means physically we are sending the request, guys. But technically, who is the physically we are sending the request? Then we are the client. But technically, we are generating the request or browser is generating the request. Guys, tell me, technically browser, right? Yeah, because browser is generating request, right? When you type the URL here. Yes, you got the point. Physically, we are sending the request to the pgforyou.com. This is server. pgforyou.com, some server is there somewhere. physically we are sending the request, but technically speaking, who is sending the request guys here? Browser is sending the request to server, right? Guys, technically browser is sending the request or not? That's what guys. You understood that the browser is the example of client. Guys, this is what? Client, right? Guys, what is the responsibility of the client? Tell me. Client means what? Who sends the request? Tell me guys, who sends what? Who sends the request and who takes the response? Guys, see, what is the client here? Client means what? Who sends the request and who takes the response. This is called what guys? Client. Okay. Guys, who is the client here? Tell me. Guys, who is the client? We are the client, right? We are the client means they are sending the request. The browser is technically browser is sending the request, right? That's what guys we can say. Browser is examples of client, right? Exactly. Yes, or no? Who is the client here? We are the client. The browser is the client. Browser, right? Because browser is sending the request to what server, and the browser is taking the response, right? Browser is holding the response, right? Exactly. Tell me, guys, what do you mean by client? Client means what? Who sends the request and who sends the request? Terminology is very important, guys. Observe the terminology. Who sends the request and takes the response? Takes the response. Takes what? Takes the response, right? Response is called what? Is called client, right? Exactly. Because example is what? What is the example of client? All browsers, right? Guys, all what? All browsers are examples of what? Client, right? Exactly. Yes, who sends the request and take the response is called client. All browsers of examples of clients, right? Exactly. Here, this is a client, guys. Yes, now tell me, in the client side, guys, I'm talking about the client first. I'm talking about the client. In the client side, we have the sign-in.html. In the client side, we have the sign-in page is there. Check this URL pattern once. Sign-in.html, right? Yes, are you able to see this URL, right? What's the URL here? Sign-in.html or not? See guys, pc4u.com/sign-in.html. It means what here in the client side, guys. Client side, we are designing the form pages, right? In the client side, we are designing the form pages using which technology? Yes, client side is designing the form pages using which technology? Using which technology means what? Yes, very clear. Now, this is called sign-in button, guys. This is we have like sign-in.html, right? Sign-in.html. It means what? At client side, we are designing the application. In the client side, we are designing the application using what, guys? HTML, right? Yes, sir. No. In the client side, we are designing the application using what? HTML or not? HTML, right? That is called client side technologies, guys. If someone is thinking like HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, those all are called client side, guys. These are called client side technologies. Front end, right? Generally, you are calling it as a front end. Okay, the client side technologies, guys. Okay, so client side technologies. Okay, client side technologies, right? Client side technology. What are the client side technologies, guys? The technologies are used to write the. Tell me, guys. The technologies are used to write the programming at what? Client side, right? It's called client side technologies, guys. The technologies are used to write the programming at client side. It's called client side technologies, right? Example is what? Tell me. HTML, CSS, JavaScript, Angular, React. These all are client side technologies, right? Exactly. Guys, I hope you got the clarity, right? Servlets in advanced Java, we'll discuss about servlets and JSP. What are responsible servlets and JSP? Use it to build the web application. Web application requires the client server architecture. Because web application follows what? Client server architecture. Okay. And web application means what? The application, tell me guys, this application is present in the World Wide Web or not? www. World Wide Web, right? Exactly. The application present in what? www, right? That is called web application, guys. The application present in World Wide Web is called what? Web application, right? Exactly. Just tell me now, to run the web application, see guys, to run the Facebook, PG for you, Twitter, okay, these all applications, definitely internet connections required or not required? Tell me here, to run the web applications, the applications present in internet, right? World Wide Web, right? That is called web applications. To run the web applications, internet connections required or not required? Internet connections, connections are what? Definitely required, right? That's it. Guys, are you clear about the client, right? What do you mean by client? Who sends the request? Who will take the response is called client. Here, what we will write? HTML, client side technology, HTML, CSS and what? CSS, JavaScript. Tell me guys, HTML, CSS and JavaScript, Angular, okay. Angular, we have the React, React JS, these all are the client side technologies, right? Exactly. Guys, everyone is clear about the client side processing, right?
Yes, sir.
Can say Java is a client side technology? No. Java is a server side connector. Java is a server side. Guys, this is called front end. Client means what? All browsers of examples of clients, right? All browsers, examples of clients. And you know, client means what? This is called front end, guys. They are saying what? Front end. You got the point, right? Exactly. This is called front end technology, guys. Clients are front end. You got the point, right? The client means what? Who sends the request and take the response is called client. The client side technology is HTML, CSS, and JavaScript to design the sign-in page, registration page, login page. These are the pages, right? Okay, sign-in page, registration page, login page. These are the pages, right? Exactly. Are you clear now? Good. Sir, what about my servlets and JSP? Guys, your servlets and JSPs are available at server side. Which one, guys? Servlets come at JSP, right? Servlets and JSP used to write the programming at server side, guys. This is called server side. Nothing but this is called what? Front end or back end? This is called back end actually. Okay, this is called front end. This is called what? Back end, right? Server side is called back end. Servlets and JSP used to write the programming at what? Client side or server side? Server side, guys. Okay. Servlets and JSPs are there. And we have the framework like Struts framework is there. JSF framework is there. Spring framework is there. And .NET is there. PHP is there. Okay. .NET, right? .NET, PHP. These all are called what? These all are called what? Yeah, Struts, JSF, Spring. Okay, these all are called which technologies? Tell me. Server side technologies, right? Exactly. Even .NET also. These all are called server side technologies, guys. The technologies used to write the programming at server side is called server side technologies, right? Yes, servlets and JSP, guys. So we understood that servlets and JSPs are used to write the programming at server side. That is nothing but backend. You got the point, right? Then tell me, guys, what is the responsibility of the server? Assume like I'm sending the request to the PG for you, this website. I'm sending my request to the server. Then what the server will do? Guys, what the server will do? In daily life, you are doing this process, right? Server, what the server will do? Tell me, what the server will do means? Server contains application, right? First of all, server contains a project or not? Guys, first step is what? Server. Server contains what? Project or not? Server contains a project. Server takes the request from the client. Okay, server takes the request from server takes the request from the client. Server takes the request from the client. Then what the server will do? Tell me, guys, what the server will do? Server will process the request, right? Process the request. Guys, server is processing the request means at server side we have the servlets and JSPs, right? That servlets and JSPs will take the request, the servlets and JSP code executing actually, right? Servlets and JSP code executing, process the request. After processing the request, render the response back to the client, right? Yeah, render the response to what? Client or not? That's it, guys. Okay, server contains the project. Server contains the project. Server takes the request from the client, process the request, render the response to what? Tell me, render the response to the client or not? Exactly. You got the point, right? Sir, you said like examples of clients are all browsers. Every browser sends a request and takes a response. Right? What are the examples of servers? Sir? What are the examples of servers? Tomcat server, guys. Tomcat server is given by no Apache Software Foundation. Apache Software Water Foundation. Tell me any servers here. WebLogic server. WebLogic is given by Oracle Corporation. We have the WebSphere server. WebSphere is given by IBM. Right? We have like Glassfish. Glassfish initially from Sun Microsystem. Now we have the Sun Microsystem. I think no, right? Yes, now you have the Sun Microsystem. No, right? Now it is from Oracle Corporation, right? Exactly. And we have the JBoss server. JBoss. JBoss is given by Red Hat. Yes, every server responsibility is what? Once my project is completed, we need to place the project into server. Every server responsibility is same, right? Every server contains the project, takes the request from the client, process the request, render the response back to the client. That's it. You got the point, right? That is the responsibility server, guys. Are you clear now? Last one is what, guys? Database. Database is very simple, right? Use it to store the data. That's it. Because database purpose is what? Use it to store the data. What are examples of databases? Oracle database we have, and MySQL database we have, and MongoDB. Okay, I will see some example about the MongoDB also, right? Exactly. Guys, the web application means what? This is the architecture we need to follow. Servlets and JSP to build web application. The web application requires the client server architecture. The web application present in what? The application present in World Wide Web, internet, guys. Definitely to run the web application, internet connections are required, right? Sir, no, guys. The web application follows three-tier architecture, right? Three-tier architecture. What are three tier, guys? One is a client tier. The second one is what? Server tier. The last one is what? Database tier. Guys, are you clear about these points, right? What is the client? What is the server? Client means who sends the request and take the response. Who is the client? Browser, because using browser only assign the request, right? Browser is example of clients. Client side technologies, nothing but browser side. What are the sign in button? Sign in is that these all the process, right? These are create a new account. These are the fields, right? Create a new can sign in.html. These all the things are called what? These are text fields, right? These text fields and everything is developed using what? See guys, Ratan, Hyderabad, something mobile number. Mobile number is 90001600099. My mail ID is like, no, this is my mobile number, this is my mail ID. You got the point, right? Ratna5256@gmail.com. This is called form page, right? HTML. When I click the save button, then what happens? The request goes to server side. Request goes to what? Server side, right? Server will take the request, process the request, generate the response. What are the servers case here? Tomcat server we have, WebLogic server we have, multiple servers are there. I written that server, right? Exactly. Just here one point. Sir, you're saying that Servlets and JSP to write the programming at server side. Sir, where is my Jdbc class? Tell me here, where is your Jdbc then? Where is your Jdbc means like, your servlets and servlets case cannot interact with the database directly. Oh, that is very, very important, right? Servlets cannot enter the database directly, guys. Servlets, we don't have the API. Servlets, we don't have the classes. JSP, we don't have the classes to interact with the database directly. Guys, servlets and JSPs are directly cannot interact with the database. Then how they will interact with the database? How they will interact with the database means my servlet application connecting with the database using what? JDBC. Yes, we got the point or not? My servlet application is connecting with the database, right? Using which concepts, guys, here? JDBC. Then tell me what the purpose of JDBC, guys? JDBC is used to provide the connection between what? Java application to database, right? Guys, you got the point or not? Before starting the JDBC, servlets and JSP, first of all, you have to know exactly where we're using the servlets and JSPs and JDBC, right? Exactly. Okay, this is my what the concept is database. Generally, what are the databases we have? We have the database like Oracle database, MySQL database. These are the databases. Guys, now are you clear now? Sir, what about Struts and JSF? Yesterday I told you Struts and JSF are the frameworks, right? The frameworks are the frameworks are like building web application. If you need some more clarity here, Servlets and JSP are the technologies. They cannot interact with the database directly. What they're using? JDBC. Struts and JSF is a framework. They cannot interact with the database directly. The Struts and JSF are using the framework to interact with the database. That is called Hibernate framework, guys. That clarity is very, very important. In Amir paid classes, you can attend the 2 demo classes for Advanced Java. No one will give this much clarity. Sir, no, guys. Try to focus on the points, direct points. In daily life, we are sending the request, right? It's the client who sends the request, take the response. Browser, client side technologies, nothing but a front end. Second is what? Server side technologies, nothing but a back end. Where is your Java, guys? Your Java is a front end or back end? Back end. Your servlets and JSP can interact with the database directly? Yeah? No, we cannot interact with the database directly. Servlets and JSP, we don't have the API. JDBC API only, my servlets can interact with what? Database. Because inside the servlets, we will write the JDBC code to connect with the database. What about structs and what? JSF. Structs and JSF are the frameworks. These two are the frameworks. If these two are the frameworks, these two are interacting with the database. Can we guys using? Can we using the framework, right? What is the framework name? Hibernate framework, right? Exactly. That is a Hibernate framework. Okay, servlets and JSP are the technologies. These technologies are interacting with the database using what? JDBC, servlets and JSP. Struts and JSF is the struts and what? JSF is the frameworks. Those are using what? Hibernate framework to interact with the database. To interact with what? Database. Guys, to interact with what? Database, right? Exactly. Guys, any questions, please? This is called client server database. Yeah, frameworks are definitely built on the top of the technologies only. Yesterday we done the point, right? Yes, to reduce the boilerplate code. Yeah, you got the point, right? Finally, we got the clarity like servlets and JSP to write the programming at what? Client side or server side? Guys, servlets and JSPs. Servlets and JSPs are used to write the programming at what? Client side or server side? Write the programming at client side, server side, right? What is the purpose of JDBC, guys? What is the purpose of JDBC means? The servlets comma, yeah, the servlets comma JSP application cannot interact with the database directly. So we will use which one, guys? We will use what? JDBC to connect to database, right? Exactly. Because you got the point, right? There is in JDBC to connect to the database or not? Exactly. Is it clear now? So we understood that where exactly what is a web. This is called web application architecture, guys, completely. Web application follows for the architecture. This is called web application. Web application what? Web application architecture. Web application what? Architecture, right? Exactly. Web application follows three-tier architecture, guys. Three-tier means client, server, and database. Client means who sends the request and take the response is called client. And all browsers of examples of clients. And the client side technologies are what? HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Server contains the project, guys. Server takes the request from the client, process the request, and generate the response back to the client, right? Exactly. Database means what? Use it to store the data. The database means what? Use it to store the data. The servers, right? These are database. Solid applications, JSP applications cannot interact with the database directly. So we will use the Jdbc to connect the database, right? Exactly. Guys, what the purpose of Servlets account JSP? Use it to write the programming at use it to write the this clarity important, guys. Servlets on JSP means immediately we have to think that okay, I am writing the coding at server side. So no, Servlets on JSP means what? Use it to write the programming at what? Client side or server side? Server side, right? Exactly. Yes, use it to write the programming at what? Server side, right? That's all, guys. Servlets on JSP. What about Jdbc? Servlets on JSP cannot interact with the database directly, so we will use Jdbc to connect the database. Is that clear now? Yeah. The next point, like the web application, web application contains three layers. Web application contains what? Three layers actually, layered architecture. First one is like client side. Yes, client side means this is called presentation layer. Okay, what the first layer tell me? Client side. Client side means this layer is called which layer is your presentation layer, right? Yes, yes or no? This layer is called what? Presentation layer, right? Exactly. Because here this is called presentation layer, right? Exactly. This presentation layer we will design using HTML, CSS, and what? JavaScript. Second one is what, guys? Server side. This is called business layer or processing layer. Yes, business layer or what? Processing layer, right? Exactly. The second one is what? Business layer or you can say business or processing layer, guys. So processing what layer, right? Exactly. Business or processing layer, guys. What you can say? Business or processing layer. What we will use now? Tell me what we will use. Servlets, what? JSP. Guys, servlets, what? JSP, right? Exactly. Even frameworks we have. What are frameworks guys here? Struts framework and JSF framework, right? Exactly. The third layer is called what? This is the new layer, na? Persistence layer. Nothing but my Java application connecting with the database, right? Using Jdbc, na? This is called persistence layer. The logics which are interacting with the database, guys. This is called persistence layer. These connection logics are called persistence layer. Yeah, this is called presentation layer. This is called business layer. This is called persistence layer. Connection logic, right? That is called what? Persistence layer, right? So how many layers guys here? Total 3 layers, right? Exactly. Yes, are clear now. The first one is what? Presentation layer, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Guys, if someone said web application means in your mind, immediately we need to get these 3 layers. Client, okay. Server, okay. Database, okay. Immediately advanced Java means servlets or JSP, okay. Servlets on JSP means server side. Servlets on JSP means what? Server side, okay. Next one is what, guys? Jdbc. Oh, servlets are cannot interact with the database. Then we require the Jdbc. And struts on JSF for the frameworks, server side frameworks to build web applications. These frameworks are okay. These frameworks are interacting with the database using Hibernate framework. Sir, what about Spring, sir? Spring using the Spring Jdbc. Spring again you can use the Hibernate also, but Spring internally contains a Spring Jdbc, Spring Data JPI. Those concepts to interact with the database. You got the point, right? Yeah. That is called client, server, and database. And how many layers we have? 3 layers. What are 3 layers? Client layer, server layer, like presentation layer, business layer. The third layer, like persistence layer. Persistence what? Persistence layer, right? Exactly. Persistence layer is what? JDBC, and that we are using like framework is called Hibernate framework. That is the clarity, guys. Now tell me, guys. I think everyone got the clarity about what exactly servlets and JSP. To write the programming at server side, to build what kind of applications is web application. The statement is clear, everyone? Yes, the statement is clear. To build what kind of applications means web application. What the purpose of JDBC, guys? Servlets and JSP to write the programming at server side, but they cannot interact with the database directly. That's what my servlet application internally using the JDBC code. The JDBC API can interact with the database directly. Clear, right? Yes. It contains how many layers, guys? Total 3 layers we have. What are 3 layers? Presentation layer, business layer, persistence layer. Presentation layer means what, guys? HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Yes, as part of this course, we will discuss about the HTML. Yes, as part of this course, we will see like advanced syllabus. This one we will see along with this BI technologies. We will see like HTML, CSS, and the JavaScript. We will see, and we will discuss about the database as part of these courses. We will discuss about the Oracle database, MySQL database, MongoDB database, MongoDB. As part of this course, we will discuss about some tools. What are tools like I'll go for the Maven tool, which is a build tool, guys. Which is what a build tool I will use, and I'll use the Git tool. The Git is like version control tool. That's version control, right? Version control I'll use. These are tools I'll use. As part of this course, I'll use IDs. What the IDs, guys, I'll use? Most frequent, I'll use Eclipse ID, and I will use what IntelliJ ID. So as part of Advanced Java, you will get this all. JDBC, Servlets, JSP, JSTL, expression language, and UI technologies, we will cover HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Databases, we will cover Oracle, MySQL, and MongoDB. Tools, we will cover like Maven and Git tool. IDs, we will cover like Eclipse ID and IntelliJ ID. Are you clear now? Yeah, definitely I'll take one mini project about this. I will show you one project by combining these all the things. Because by combining these all the things, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, databases, Git, Maven tool, by using above all, I need to touch all the points. Using above all, just tell me, guys, using what? Above all, we will build one mini project. Even 2-3 pages application also I will build in front of you. It's not like ready-made application we have to show. Even small application also will build in front of you. That will be better, right? So no, showing the existing application recommended, building the application is recommended. Even it is a small application, also building the application is recommended, right? Yes, I hope you got the clarity, right? Yes. Building the new application, yes. Okay, this is advanced syllabus. UI technologies will cover this, databases will cover this, tools we will cover this, IDs we will cover this. Any questions? If there's any questions, please. I think you got the clarity about web application architecture, right? Web application follows what the type of how many types architecture is? 3-tier architecture. 3-tier means what? Client, server, database. Tell me, guys, what is the responsibility of the client? Who sends the request and who takes the response? Who is the client here? You are the client, or browser is the client here? Yes, you are the client of browser, because browser sends the request. What is the responsibility of the server? What is the responsibility of server? Server contains the application, server takes the request, server processes the request. Server I'm talking. See here, server. Yeah, server contains the project. Server will take the request, process the request, generate the response back to the client, right? Yeah, Tomcat server, WebLogic, these are servers. Database to store the data. Web application contains how many layers? 3 layers. What are 3 layers? Presentation layer, nothing but client side. Presentation, first we have to say presentation, client important, right? First client important, the presentation layer we have to say. Second one is what? Business layer, nothing but processing layer, server side. What is the third layer? Third layer is what? Persistence. Database connection logic, right? Persistence layer actually. That layer is called persistence logic. Exactly. Got the point, right? Yeah. Yes, let me share. Every day, please write the notes. You are the new to Java. Every day, try to write the notes. Okay. I will share this class notes test. producttest.com/ADV Java 7 p.m. class. ADV Java 7 p.m. Everyone got the clarity about all the points, right? Yesterday, this is a day one notes test. Day one notes. Let me write. This is my day two notes. Okay. Yeah, fun in the load balancing is there, but this application level we can't see. We need the Spring application, Spring Boot application. Okay. Yeah, this is like day two notes. Because to get these notes, you try to open this. Try to open this link. Everyone, try to open that link. When you open that link, it's asking password. The password for that link is Java. The password for that link is Java. I'm placing the link one more time. This is the link. When you open that link, it's asking password. The password for that link is Java. JAVA is a password. Day one, day two notes is there. Okay, the fees for this course is 5,000. Complete the formalities 5,000. If you complete the fee payment 5,000, the duration is 2 months, guys. Fees is 5,000 and the duration like 2 months exact. I will take 2 months. Yeah, 2 months I will take. Once if you complete the fee payment, guys, every day you will get the recorded session to your mail ID. Yes, every day. Okay, you will get what? You will get recorded session to your email ID. Once if you complete the fee payment, they will take your mail ID. Immediately they will send you the recorded session to your email ID. Okay, that's one thing. The guys previous like CoreJava students, the already who are paid for the both core plus advanced Java, can you please enter the mail IDs. Today they will share you the drive access to your mail IDs, which contains the recorded sessions and the materials regarding CoreJava, advanced Java. The guys who are already registered, please enter your mail IDs in the chat box so that tomorrow morning you will get the access. Okay. Yeah, definitely Gopi. 2 months is good enough time. So we will not take not more than 2 months. 2 months is good enough time. Ranjan Kumar, yesterday video we available on the YouTube. Yes, exactly. Because today, first 3 demo classes they'll upload in YouTube. Even once if you pay the fee, they will share the Google Drive link, right? The drive contains all the videos. Okay. In youtube.com, just you can type Advanced Java by Mr. Ratan. Yeah, the guys who are missed yesterday class, right? Because every class required session is there. Okay, read the required session carefully. Okay, see the required session carefully and do the practicals, right? Advanced Java by Mr. Ratan, 7 p.m. Oh, this is called demo one, guys. Yes, some videos are there. If you want, you can check it. Advanced Java by Mr. Ratan. Yeah, but this is a demo one yesterday class. This is the demo one, right? Yeah, the guys who are missed the demo one, can you please check the demo one here? This is yesterday class notes, guys. You try to check the notes and try to follow the video. Yes, every day videos are there. Na? Try to just to follow the videos and try to write the notes. Try to get some clarity. That's it. Yeah, online classes we have that advantage, right? Offline classes means what? If you are unable to understand nothing, what you will get? Nothing, right? If online classes, what the advantage, guys? Once even if you miss the class, we have the recorded session, and even if you want to check one more time, you can check the recorded session and you can move forward, right? So, no, there's advantage about recorded sessions. Watch again and again. Yeah, how many times you want, you can watch again and again. But finally, we need to get the clarity, right? That's the point. Spring and Hibernate come to this advanced Java, sir. No, Manisai. Manisai, I will talk to you. Okay. Manisai, you can send a hi in my WhatsApp, man. I'll talk to you once. Yeah, Manisai and Tarun also. Tarun also, you both of you just you can ping me once after the class. You are my student, right? Yeah. Ping me once after the class. Fine. For your students.
Sir. Hello.
Yeah, Tarun.
Sir, during CoreJava, you have shared some interview questions, sir. CoreJava interview questions, and you said
Regarding
that,
Advance Java also, I'll share the same pattern.
sir, you said that you share that interview questions as PDF, sir.
Okay.
But we have not received that PDF something as well, sir.
We have the part one interview questions, right? Part one and CoreJava material is there, right? No.
CoreJava material is there, sir.
Interview questions part one?
The questions there, sir, but the answers are not there, sir.
No. CoreJava answers are also present, right? Then, like I will check once. I'll update you, Tarun. We have like CoreJava, Advanced Java for every course. I prepared entry questions with the answers also. These are the entry questions. These are the questions. Let me do one thing. Let me open the previous one. Property schedule, desktop, and we have like CoreJava, Advanced Java. This is a part one entry questions. Like this advanced Java also prepared entry questions. Like the Spring also entry questions are there. Let me open this. It's taking the time. But check the required session and check this video. Like check this diagram once. Okay, check the diagram once. Any of the guys who are registered for Advanced Java, students also, I will share the required, I will share the CoreJava entry questions. See, these are the entry questions with answers also there, Tarun. These are the answers, right? Okay, just you can bring this my photo. Yes, here's my photo. Yeah. Good. I will share with you. Okay, I will share with you. Sir, I also want to talk with you once again. So give me 10 minutes, sir. Yeah, crunch and definitely. Bye, guys. Tomorrow we'll meet. Tomorrow we'll meet. And check that last class required session if you need. Check this video once. Okay. For this video, the URL is there. Yeah, this is the URL I placed here. Just you can check the URL once. Okay. The guys who need the class note, this is the link. Try to open that link. It's asking password. The password for that link is Java. JAVA is the password, right? Yeah. Bye, guys. Tomorrow we'll meet. Just complete the formalities and take that required sessions. Okay. Complete the formalities. Key payments here. Bye.
Bye, sir. Thank you, sir.